Today I'm going to give you 5 very quick tips to help you on Football Manager improve your game and improve your enjoyment. Starting off with this, we can see here training schedule. Now training can be very scary to a lot of people. Some people just avoid it completely. Some people create mass amounts of scheduling, and I appreciate and respect if you do that because it does take a lot of time. If you join me on my streams, you know that I am gospel to one main factor in training, and that is adding match reviews. Every single time you play a match, viewers, you have the ability to leave a match review. What does a match review do? Well, you can see I've just selected it here. Match reviews, a session dedicated to analytically reviewing the previous match. Now, tactical familiarity, we know, is massively important when it comes to your players understanding your tactic, which means they will play better in your tactic. If your players have no tactical familiarity, chances are they're not going to play very well in your tactic. So what this does after every single game is improve the mentality, the passing style, the creative freedom, the trigger press, marking tempo, width, position, role, duty of every single player that was involved in that game. It gives them a better understanding of how they are playing using this tactic. So I cannot stress enough how much that this is important. The best benefactor of this is not only does it do that, it also increases your team cohesion, which is massively effective as well. Because if you have bad cohesion, your players just will not play well with each other and you'll have abundance of problems throughout the season. But also, it doesn't take up any stamina. It literally doesn't fatigue your players at all. If you take a look at this one, the fatigue and the injury risk is slightly increased. The condition is slightly reduced. Your players will be more tired. With the match review, that doesn't happen. There is just all positives, no negatives whatsoever. So please, every single time on a news, every single time you load up your inbox and it comes up with something to do with schedule changes because of cup games or something being entered into the game, and you see the recovery session after a game, go forward and enter a match review. They used to do it automatically. The assistant manager used to automatically. Football Manager has changed that in the last couple of years to stop that from happening. That's the reason why you need to be doing it yourself. Another thing I also do as well, I don't know whether you guys might find it beneficial, but the day before you always get a match preview. But I always find instead of giving them something which could cause them injury, I go to match preparation and I do match tactics. Now, the condition is slightly reduced, but you still get better tactical familiarity, you get better attributes and decision makings and teamwork, and the team cohesion is increased. Maybe it's just another one you need to throw in there. Not to mention as well, sometimes extracurricular, these two, while you're there, you might as well add these in while you're there. Why not? Just add them in. Now, I said these were going to be quick. The second one is really quick, and it will just save you so much time. Are you just bored of just clicking space bar or clicking the next and read a continue button once you've read all of your news items and pressing continue, and then you have to press continue all the way up until your next game? Well, I get bored of it because the amount of times that I play this game, especially when I'm doing rebuilds and stuff, now I simply go on holiday. Even in the transfer one, it doesn't matter too much. If you select down here, return to holiday after, you can select your next match. It will let you go on holiday. It will deal with all those news in your inbox will still be there when you get back to it. And the only problems that you will get is like they want to speak to you or something, or in the case that sometimes you can answer it, it's like the transfers. If it doesn't go over a week, the chance of the transfer's still there, so you can still react to it. For me, it just speeds the game up so much more than having to click through and press continue every single time. But before we take up the final 3 tips for you today, we have a word from our sponsor, Skillshare. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Now, I've mentioned time and time again how valuable Skillshare can be for aspiring creators. It is an online learning community with thousands of courses in many different aspects. Whether it's content creation, like making YouTube videos, or streaming, maybe it's graphic design, or even video editing. You could become a YouTube editor maybe. One class I actually enjoyed was the Marquez Brownlee's YouTube success, mainly because it has a bit of everything from someone who has succeeded at the very same job I'm doing now at the highest level. I learned so much about how best to script videos, edit them, and shoot them. You might have seen a drastic change in the way I do my videos ever since I watched it. There are so many options that you simply won't have enough time in the day to learn all of these skills. There's subtitles for many languages, including French, Spanish, Portuguese, and German. And there's not even an advert in sight, so you will not get distracted. And with new premium classes added every single week, Skillshare have given me a fantastic offer to give to you. The first 1,000 people who select the link down below in the description will get 1 free month's trial using Skillshare. So make sure you do not miss out on that because you will regret it. Now let's get back to the video. Now, sending players out on loan can become a bit of a chore. And sometimes, like I suggest, not even bother doing that for their development. But if there is coming across a time where you want to send a player out, but it just takes a little bit more of hassle, did you know that there's a developmental list where you can add them to that list and it will literally do the work for you? Your director of football, whoever's in charge, will have the ability and you can set everything you want. So say just 20%, agreed playing time, I'd like them to be a regular starter, and you can even select whether you send them to a team with poor or whatever average training facilities, depending on whatever nation you're in and how good your training facilities are. Never really send them to like a bad one unless you're in a bad league, of course. You can even specify what nation you send them to. So you can even select, sometimes you need to get like a work permit or something like that, or make them an EU national. If you send them to places like Spain for a year, they will be really close to gaining nationality. Send them there again, and it's just such an easy, and that's all you have to do. They're added to developmental list. You can then find your developmental list. If you go on to transfers down here, you go on director of football developmental list, and it will tell you the status of that. Sometimes you'll have loads of offers coming in depending on what part of the transfer window you're in. Sometimes you won't have any, and you just have to try and find it yourself. But it can be a bit of a time saver, and also it just does all the dirty work for you. It's lovely. The fourth quick tip that I have for you today is get the most out of your transfers in a very easy method. When you have a few clubs interested in the player like we do here, Ali Rayner has 2 offers coming in at £2.5 million. Maybe I'm thinking, well, I could just accept both and he can make his decision, or you can try and get a little bit more money for them. So say if I just accept the Dortmund one there, I reject the Manchester City one, but I go back to Ali Rayner and I go to offer to clubs, and maybe I put it up to £3.3 million and offer clubs there. Let's see if they come back with another offer. Lo and behold, the next click of the button that I do, Manchester City have come back with £3.3 million. Paris Saint-Germain there, 2.5 billion. Let's reject that one. Let's accept the 3.3, reject now the Dortmund one, we'll cancel that one. Then we go back to Ali Rayner and offer him out again. And if they come back again, even better. If they don't, we've gained like 700k just from that one offer. I know Lelujo made a big deal and made a big video about it last year, but some of you may not have seen it. Some of you may have been playing this game for the very first time. You did not know you could do these types of things. Now, the final tip I have for you is kind of revolved around training again, but this one is slightly easier. Are you finding that your players, if you've got like more cup games, maybe you've just qualified for Europe and your squad is a little bit bare, you don't really have the players to rotate, are you finding you're having to field players with not very great fitness? If you come to the training section on your left hand side here and you go over to rest, you have this screen here. This basically defines how much intensity your players are training at depending on how they are feeling. If they have a fair condition, it is set to normal intensity. If they have this, a poor condition, and it's set to half intensity. You can change this if you like. You can go down to no pitch or gym work. Maybe then they'll come up to this section a little bit quicker, and you can double down and go that down to half intensity, so that when they're at this, that's when they finally get back to normal intensity training, and by then they are match ready to play. You can even set, of course, down to double intensity if you're in pre-season. You just have to remember to come back to it to change it back once you start playing more games, because else you will really tire your players out. But those are my 5 quick tips. I hope you found them very useful. Make sure you check out Skillshare, the link down below in the description. Thank you very much once again, Skillshare. Drop a like if you can, that'll be fantastic, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.